Dr. Lisa Martinez looked at the students in her classroom. She was teaching about life on other planets. The students seemed bored. Most of them played with their phones instead of listening. "What do you think aliens would look like?" Lisa asked the class. A few students looked up. "Big and green," one student said. The class laughed. "Maybe they are already here," Lisa said with a smile. "Maybe they are watching us right now." She did not know how right she was. 300 miles away, Captain Jake Martinez was having lunch with his wife and 2 kids. Jake was Lisa's older brother. He was a soldier who had fought in many wars. Today he was visiting Denver with his family. They were having a good time at the park. "Dad, look at that cloud," his son Billy said. He pointed at the sky. Jake looked up. The cloud was moving too fast. It was also the wrong shape. It looked like metal. "That's not a cloud," Jake said quietly. His soldier training kicked in. Something was very wrong. High above the city, ships bigger than skyscrapers moved through the clouds. They had been watching Earth for months. The beings inside these ships called themselves the Dominion. They traveled from planet to planet, taking what they wanted. Harvester Prime Zekthara stood on the bridge of the lead ship. He was tall and thin with gray skin. His eyes were black and cold. He had done this many times before on many worlds. "Begin the harvest," he ordered his crew. The alien ships moved into position over Denver. People in the city started to notice. They pointed at the sky. Some took pictures. Most thought it was some kind of joke or movie being filmed. Lisa was still teaching when the lights went out. Emergency sirens began to sound all over the city. She looked out the window and saw the ships. "Everyone stay calm," she told her students. But her heart was beating fast. She had studied space and aliens her whole life. She knew this was not a drill. The alien ships began to glow with blue light. The light got brighter and brighter. Then something impossible happened. The ground began to shake. Jake grabbed his family and ran toward their car. Other people were running too. Cars crashed into each other. People screamed. The blue light from the ships was getting stronger. "The whole city is lifting up," someone yelled. Jake looked around. The man was right. Buildings, roads, trees, cars. Everything was rising into the air. The aliens were taking the entire city. At NORAD military base outside the city, General Patricia Hayes watched her screens in shock. She had been a soldier for 30 years. She had never seen anything like this. "Send all available aircraft," she ordered. "Stop those ships." Fighter jets rushed toward the alien vessels. They fired missiles and bullets. The weapons hit the ships but did no damage. The alien shields were too strong. Some jets got too close and simply disappeared in flashes of light. "Our weapons are useless," one pilot reported before his radio went silent. Back in the city, Lisa tried to help her students stay calm. The classroom was floating through the air along with the rest of the building. Through the windows, she could see other buildings floating nearby. Cars fell from roads that no longer touched the ground. "What's happening, Professor?" a student asked. "I don't know," Lisa said, but she was starting to understand. The aliens were taking everything. Every person, every building, every tree. The entire city of Denver was being stolen. Jake held his family tight as their car tumbled through the air. Other people in cars floated around them. Some people were hurt. Some were not moving at all. The aliens did not seem to care about keeping humans safe during the harvest. On the alien ship, Zekthara watched the collection process. To him, humans were just animals. Interesting animals that might be useful, but still just animals. His people had collected hundreds of cities from dozens of worlds. Earth was nothing special. "How many specimens?" he asked his assistant. 700,000 humans, the assistant replied, plus their structures and vehicles. "Good. Store them with the others. We will study them later." The city of Denver disappeared into the belly of the massive alien ship. 700,000 people gone in less than an hour. The ships began to move away from Earth. General Hayes stood outside NORAD and watched the alien vessels leave. Her hands were shaking with anger. Her city was gone. Her people were gone. She had been powerless to stop it. "Ma'am, what are your orders?" an officer asked. Hayes looked at the empty space where Denver used to be. There was just a huge hole in the ground now. Broken pipes and cables hung in the air. It looked like a giant had taken a bite out of the earth. "Find them," she said quietly. "Find those ships. Find our people." "Ma'am, they're already past the moon. Our technology can't—" "Then we build new technology," Hayes said, her voice getting louder. "We build whatever it takes. Those aliens think they can just take our people and leave. They're wrong." The officer nodded. He had never seen the general this angry. Around the world, people watched the news in horror. Video from Denver showed the impossible. An entire city being lifted into space by alien ships. Leaders called emergency meetings. Scientists tried to explain what had happened. But most people just felt helpless and afraid. Lisa Martinez was now a prisoner on an alien ship, along with 700,000 other people from her city. She did not know if she would ever see Earth again. She did not know if her brother Jake and his family were alive or dead. But she was still a scientist. Even as a prisoner, she began to watch and learn about her captors. She studied the aliens when they came to look at the humans. She listened to their strange language. She examined the walls and floors of their ship. The aliens had made a mistake. They thought humans were just simple animals. They did not know that humans never give up. They did not know that taking one human city would make every human on Earth into an enemy. The Dominion had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. They had never met a species like humanity. They were about to learn that some prey fights back. And when humanity fights back, empires fall. 6 months had passed since Denver disappeared. The world had changed completely. Every country on Earth was now working together for the first time in history. The Denver incident had united all of humanity. Dr. Amy Chen worked late into the night in her laboratory. She was one of the smartest people on Earth, but this problem was harder than anything she had ever faced. On her desk were pieces of alien metal that had fallen from the ships during the harvest. "Still nothing," she said to herself. She had been trying to understand the alien technology for months. In the next room, Commander Kyle Thompson was studying star maps. He was a pilot who had flown to the space station many times. Now he was training for something much more dangerous, humanity's first trip to another star. "Any luck with the metal?" Kyle asked as he walked into Amy's lab. "It's like trying to read a book written in a language that doesn't exist," Amy said. She looked tired. "The aliens are so far ahead of us." Kyle sat down next to her. "My grandmother used to say that being behind just means you have room to catch up fast." Amy smiled. "A little. Your grandmother sounds wise." She was. She also said that sometimes the underdog wins because nobody expects them to fight dirty. In another part of the city, President Susan Coleman was meeting with leaders from around the world. The meeting was happening through video screens because everyone was too busy to travel. "The Russians have finished their new rocket engines," the Russian president reported. "They can lift 10 times more weight than before." "Good," Coleman said. "China, what about the new weapons?" "Our scientists have created lasers that can cut through steel in seconds," the Chinese leader said. "But we still don't know if they will work on alien ships." Every country was sharing their best technology and their smartest people. The space programs of America, Russia, China, Japan, and Europe were now working as one team. They called it Project Reunion. Meanwhile, in a small recording studio, something amazing was happening by accident. Ben Richards was a rock guitar player who had been hired to help test alien materials. Scientists thought that sound waves might help them understand the metal better. Ben was playing his guitar while Dr. Amy Chen ran tests. She had connected the alien metal to machines that could measure how it reacted to different sounds. "Try playing something softer," Amy said. "Classical music, maybe." "I don't really know classical," Ben said, "but I can play acoustic." He switched to an acoustic guitar and began to play a simple, slow song. Suddenly, the alien metal began to glow. The machines started beeping loudly. "Don't stop playing!" Amy shouted. She watched her screens in amazement. The alien metal was changing. It was getting softer, like clay. "What's happening?" Ben asked, but he kept playing. "The metal is responding to your music," Amy said. "The frequency of the sound is doing something to its molecular structure." Ben played for 20 more minutes. By the end, the piece of alien metal had completely changed. It was no longer hard like steel. It was soft and flexible. "This is incredible," Amy said. "Music is affecting their technology. We need to test this more." Word of the discovery spread quickly through the scientific community. Within days, musicians and sound engineers from around the world were working with scientists to understand how sound could affect alien technology. Dr. Lisa Martinez had been rescued, but she was not the Lisa from Denver. This Lisa was her cousin who had been named after her. She worked as a doctor and had been studying the few alien biological samples that had been recovered. "I found something strange," she told the other scientists during a video meeting. "The alien DNA is not like anything on Earth, but it has a weakness." "What kind of weakness?" Amy asked. "They can't process oxygen the way we can," Lisa explained. "Their cells need a very specific environment. If we could somehow change the air around them, they might get sick or weak. Like poisoning them with our own atmosphere?" Kyle asked. "Not exactly poisoning," Lisa said. "More like making them breathe something they're not designed for. It would be like making us breathe underwater." The discoveries were adding up. Humanity was starting to understand their enemy, but they still needed a way to reach the aliens, who could be anywhere in the galaxy by now. General Patricia Hayes had been promoted to run all of Earth's military forces. She spent every day planning humanity's response. She had not forgotten her promise to find Denver and bring everyone home. "How many ships can we build?" she asked her engineers. "With all countries working together, maybe 5 or 6 large ships," the head engineer said. "But they won't be as advanced as the alien ships." "They don't need to be more advanced," Hayes said. "They just need to be smart." The ships were being built in secret locations around the world. Each one was bigger than anything humans had ever built before. They used new engines that could travel faster than light based on copied alien technology. But the most important part was the weapons. Instead of traditional guns and missiles, the ships would carry something no alien would expect. Giant speakers that could play music loud enough to be heard in space. "You want to fight aliens with rock music?" one general asked Hayes during a planning meeting. "I want to fight aliens with everything we have," Hayes replied. "If music can break their metal, imagine what it could do to their ships." Commander Kyle Thompson was chosen to lead the mission. He would captain the largest ship, which they decided to call the Denver's Promise. The name was Hayes's idea. "Every person on those ships will be a volunteer," Hayes announced to her officers. "We're not ordering anyone to go on this mission, but I think you'll be surprised how many people want to go." She was right. Over 1 million people applied to join the mission. They had to turn away hundreds of thousands of qualified volunteers. Dr. Amy Chen would go as the chief science officer. Ben Richards would go as the sound weapons specialist. Dr. Lisa Martinez would go as the medical officer and alien biology expert. The 5 ships took 2 years to build. During that time, Earth's entire economy focused on the mission. Factories that used to make cars now made spacecraft parts. Computer companies worked on navigation systems. Even farmers grew special food that could last for years in space. As the launch date got closer, people around the world gathered to watch. The ships were launched from a new space center built in the middle of the ocean. Each ship was the size of a small city. Hayes stood on the command deck of the Denver's Promise as it lifted off from Earth. Through the windows, she could see the planet getting smaller below them. Somewhere out there in the darkness, 700,000 people from Denver were waiting to be rescued. "All ships report ready," Kyle announced. "Then let's go bring our people home," Hayes said. The 5 human ships activated their new faster-than-light engines and disappeared into space. Behind them, Earth continued to prepare. If the mission failed, there would be another mission, and another after that. Humanity had awakened to the fact that they were not alone in the universe. They had learned that there were beings out there who saw them as nothing more than animals to be collected. But the aliens had made a mistake. They had attacked the wrong species. They had chosen to harvest a city from a planet full of beings who never, ever give up. The hunt was about to begin. The 5 human ships had been traveling through space for 3 months. They were farther from Earth than any human had ever gone before. Commander Kyle Thompson stood on the bridge of the Denver's Promise, looking at the stars through the main window. "Any sign of the alien ships?" he asked Dr. Amy Chen. Amy was studying her instruments. "We're following their energy trail, but it's getting weaker. They could be anywhere by now." The human fleet was made up of 5 ships. Besides the Denver's Promise, there were the ships called Vengeance, Liberty, Defiance, and Justice. Each ship had about 2,000 people on it. They were soldiers, scientists, engineers, and doctors, the best people Earth could send. Captain Ryan Clark commanded the Vengeance. He had been a fighter pilot before joining the space mission. He was known for being brave and quick to act. "I'm picking up something on the long-range scanners," Clark reported to the fleet. "It's not our alien friends, but it's definitely not human either." Kyle looked at Amy. "Could it be another species?" "Only one way to find out," Amy said. The human ships changed course toward the unknown signal. As they got closer, they could see it was a small ship, badly damaged and drifting in space. "It's sending out a distress signal," Ben Richards reported. He was using the sound equipment to listen to the signal. "But it's not in any language we know." "Let's bring it aboard," Kyle decided. "Maybe whoever is inside can help us." The small alien ship was brought into the cargo bay of the Denver's Promise. When the doors opened, the humans got their first look at a friendly alien species. The Tauper. Being inside was about 4 feet tall with green scaly skin. It looked like a lizard that walked on 2 legs. It was weak and injured. Dr. Lisa Martinez was the first to approach it. "Hello," she said slowly. "We want to help you." The alien looked at her with large yellow eyes. It tried to speak, but the words were in a language the humans had never heard. Amy worked quickly to create a translation device using the ship's computers. After several hours, they were able to talk to the alien. "My name is Kess," the alien said through the translator. "I am Keth Mori. You are the species called human, yes?" "Yes," Kyle said. "How do you know about humans?" "We have heard of your people. You are the ones whose city was taken by the Dominion." The humans looked at each other. This alien knew about Denver. "You know about the Dominion?" Lisa asked. Kess made a sound that might have been crying. "They took my world 300 years ago. My people are scattered across the galaxy now. We are all that remains of the Keth Mori civilization." Kyle felt anger building inside him. "How many worlds have they destroyed?" "Hundreds," Kess said. "Maybe thousands. They have been doing this for a very long time. No one has ever been able to stop them." "Well, no one like us has ever tried," Captain Clark said. Kess looked at the humans with what might have been hope. "You plan to fight them?" "We plan to get our people back," Kyle said. "And if that means fighting, then we fight." The Dominion. "Ships are very powerful," Kess warned. "Their shields cannot be broken. Their weapons destroy everything. How will you defeat them?" Amy smiled. "We have a few tricks they won't expect." Kess agreed to help the humans track the Dominion fleet. The alien had been following the enemy ships for years, looking for other survivors from his homeworld. "They are heading toward their harvest world," Kess explained. "It is called Zakandra Prime. That is where they take all the species they collect." "How far away is it?" Kyle asked. 2 weeks travel at your speed," Kess said. "But there are patrol ships between here and there. The Dominion guards their territory well." Kyle made a decision. "Then we'll have to go through the patrols." The first encounter with Dominion forces happened 5 days later. 3 alien patrol ships spotted the human fleet and moved to intercept them. Captain Ryan Clark was in charge of the Vengeance when the aliens attacked. The enemy ships were sleek and fast, with weapons that fired beams of red energy. "All ships, this is Clark," he announced to the fleet. "Time to see if our new toys work." The human ships spread out in a formation they had practiced many times. Instead of firing back with traditional weapons, they aimed their giant speakers at the alien ships. Ben Richards was on the Denver's Promise, controlling the sound weapons for the entire fleet. "Playing track number 1, he announced. The sound of human rock music blasted through space toward the alien ships. The music was specially chosen. Loud, powerful songs with just the right frequency to disrupt alien technology. The effect was immediate and shocking. The shields around the alien ships began to flicker and fail. Their smooth hulls started to crack and change shape. "It's working," Amy shouted. "Their ships are falling apart." The alien patrol ships tried to retreat, but the human fleet followed them, playing music the entire time. Within minutes, all 3 enemy ships were disabled. "This is impossible," one of the alien captains transmitted to the human ships. "What weapon is this?" "It's called rock and roll," Captain Clark replied. "Maybe you've heard of it." The human fleet captured the alien ships and their crews. Through questioning the prisoners, they learned more about the Dominion and their empire. "They have ruled the galaxy for 5,000 years, Kess translated as the prisoners spoke. "They believe they are the master race. All other species exist, only to serve them or be consumed by them." "How many ships do they have?" Kyle asked. "Thousands," the alien prisoner replied. "More than your small fleet can handle." "We'll see about that," General Hayes said. She had been listening to the conversation through long-range communication with Earth. The human fleet continued toward Zikandra Prime. Along the way, they encountered more patrol ships. Each battle was easier than the last as the humans perfected their sound weapon tactics. But they also discovered something horrible. Dr. Lisa Martinez was examining the captured alien technology when she made a disturbing discovery. "Kyle, you need to see this." She called him to her laboratory. Lisa had connected one of the alien computers to her analysis equipment. On the screen were thousands of brain scans. Not alien brains, but brains from many different species. "What am I looking at?" Kyle asked. "The aliens don't just collect species to study them," Lisa explained. "They use their brains as living computers. Every ship in their fleet is powered by the consciousness of harvested beings." Kyle stared at the screen in horror. "You mean their ships are alive?" "Not exactly alive, but not exactly dead either," Lisa said. "They take the smartest individuals from each species they harvest and connect their brains to their ship systems. The victims are conscious but trapped." Amy joined them in the lab. "That means the Dominion ships aren't just machines. They're prisons for the minds of entire civilizations." The discovery changed everything. The humans weren't just fighting to rescue Denver. They were fighting to free thousands of enslaved minds from across the galaxy. "Can we communicate with these trapped consciousness?" Kyle asked. Ben Richards had been listening to the conversation. "Maybe through sound, if their brains are connected to the ship systems, and we know sound affects their technology." "You think we can talk to the prisoners inside their own ships?" Amy asked. "It's worth trying," Ben said. The human fleet was now only 3 days away from Zikandra Prime. Ahead of them lay the largest concentration of Dominion ships they had ever seen. But now they had a new weapon, the ability to turn the enemy's own ships against them. Kyle stood on the bridge of the Denver's Promise and looked at his crew. They were scared, but they were determined. Behind them, Earth was building more ships and training more people. Ahead of them, 700,000 people from Denver were waiting to be rescued. "All ships, prepare for battle," Kyle announced to the fleet. "We're about to free a lot of people who have been slaves for a very long time." The hunt was almost over. The real fight was about to begin. Zikandra Prime looked like a nightmare from space. The planet was covered in massive buildings that stretched up into the clouds. Hundreds of Dominion ships orbited the world like metal vultures. "I count over 200 enemy ships," Captain Ryan Clark reported from the Vengeance. Commander Kyle Thompson studied the tactical display on the Denver's Promise. The human fleet of 5 ships was completely outnumbered, but they had advantages the enemy did not know about. "Ben, are you ready with the liberation frequency?" Kyle asked. Ben Richards sat at his sound control station, wearing headphones connected to the most powerful audio system ever built. "Ready as I'll ever be," he said. "If this works, we'll be talking to every enslaved mind in that fleet." Dr. Amy Chen was monitoring the alien ship patterns. The largest ships are staying close to the planet. Those must be the ones with our people. And the consciousness prisons, Dr. Lisa Martinez added grimly. Kyle opened communications to all 5 human ships. This is it, everyone. Today we find out if Earth's children know how to fight. The battle began when the Dominion fleet detected the approaching human ships. Dozens of alien vessels moved to intercept them, their red energy weapons charging up. But the humans did not run or hide. Instead, they flew straight toward the enemy fleet while playing their music weapons at full volume. The first wave of Dominion ships hit the sound barrier and immediately began to malfunction. Their shields collapsed, their hulls cracked, and several ships crashed into each other as their navigation systems failed. It's working better than we hoped, Amy reported. Their technology can't handle our music. But Kyle noticed something else happening. Some of the alien ships were not attacking anymore. They were turning to fire on other Dominion vessels instead. Ben, what did you do? Kyle asked. I'm broadcasting. The liberation frequency on all channels, Ben replied. I think the enslaved minds are hearing us and fighting back. On the surface of Zekandra Prime, alarms were screaming in the Dominion command centers. Harvester Prime Zekthara could not believe what he was seeing on his displays. How are 5 primitive ships destroying our entire fleet? He demanded. VR, harvested species are rebelling, his assistant reported. Their consciousness are taking control of our ships and turning them against us. That's impossible, Zekthara said. They are slaves. They cannot resist our control, but they were resisting. Across the Dominion fleet, the trapped minds of 1,000 different species were hearing Ben's liberation signal and remembering what freedom felt like, a ship that had been powered by the minds of the peaceful Talari. People suddenly stopped firing on the humans and began transmitting a message. We are free. We remember who we were. Another vessel, controlled by the consciousness of the warrior Vrek species, turned its massive guns on the Dominion command ship and fired everything it had. The space battle became chaos as the Dominion fleet turned on itself. But Kyle knew they had to move fast. The enemy would adapt to their tactics eventually. Clark, take the Vengeance and Justice down to the planet's surface, Kyle ordered. Find the prisoner facilities and start the rescue operation. Copy that, Clark replied. Marine Colonel Jack Foster, you ready to go knock on some alien doors? Colonel Foster was leading 5,000 Marine soldiers spread across the human fleet. He had fought in wars all over Earth, but nothing had prepared him for fighting aliens on another planet. Marines are always ready, Foster replied. Let's go get our people. The Vengeance and Justice broke through the planet's atmosphere, while the other 3 human ships continued fighting in space. Below them, Zekandra Prime looked even worse up close. The buildings were made of the same strange metal as the alien ships, and they were huge. Some of them were taller than Earth's biggest mountains. Scanning for human life signs, Dr. Lisa Martinez reported from the Justice. I'm reading massive biosignature clusters in the northern continent. The human ships landed near what looked like a gigantic warehouse. But as the Marines got closer, they realized it was not a warehouse at all. It was a prison for entire populations. Colonel Foster led the first assault team through the massive doors. Inside, the building stretched on for miles in every direction. Thousands of clear tubes lined the walls, each one containing a living being from some alien species. My God, Foster whispered. How many people are in here? Millions, Lisa replied as she scanned the facility with her instruments. This is just one building, and there are hundreds more like it across the planet. The Marines began the slow process of freeing the prisoners. Each tube had to be opened carefully to avoid harming the beings inside. Many of the prisoners had been asleep for so long they did not remember who they were or where they came from. But then Foster found what they were looking for. In a special section of the prison, 700,000 clear tubes contained the people of Denver. Lisa, Jake, Billy, Foster called out as he ran through the rows of tubes looking for familiar faces. Dr. Lisa Martinez from Denver was in tube number 847,392. Her brother, Captain Jake Martinez, was in tube 847,393. Jake's wife and children were in the tubes right next to them. Get them out of there, Foster ordered his medics. Get all of them out. As the Denver prisoners were freed, they told the rescue teams what they had learned during their captivity. The Dominion had been studying humans for months, trying to understand how their brains worked. They were planning to use us as computers too, Jake Martinez explained to Colonel Foster. But something about human brains was different from other species. We caused problems in their systems. What kind of problems? Foster asked. Creativity, Lisa Martinez said weakly. She was still recovering from being in the tube for so long. Human minds keep creating new ideas even when they're supposed to be controlled. The aliens couldn't figure out how to stop it. Meanwhile, in space, the battle was turning in humanity's favor. The liberated alien ships were now fighting alongside the human fleet against the remaining loyal Dominion vessels. Ben Richards had expanded his liberation frequency to cover the entire planet. All across Zacandra Prime, enslaved minds were breaking free from their alien captors. This is incredible, Amy Chen reported to Kyle. The rebellion is spreading to every Dominion facility in the system. We're not just freeing our people, we're freeing everyone. But Harvester Prime Zekthera was not ready to give up. He activated the planet's ultimate defense system, a weapon that could destroy the entire world rather than let it fall into enemy hands. If we cannot have our slaves, no one can, he announced to his remaining loyal ships. The weapon began charging up, drawing power from the planet's core. If it fired, it would not only kill all the prisoners but also destroy the human rescue fleet. Kyle saw the energy readings on his instruments. That's not good, he said. How long until it fires? Amy asked. 10 minutes, maybe less. Kyle made a desperate decision. All ships focus fire on that weapon. We have to stop it before it destroys the planet. The combined human and liberated alien fleet turned all their weapons on the massive planetary defense system, but their attacks barely scratched its armor. It's too well protected, Clark reported from the planet's surface. We need more time to evacuate everyone. That's when Chief Engineer Maria Santos came up with a crazy idea. She was aboard the Liberty and she had been studying the alien technology they had captured. What if we don't destroy the weapon? She said over the communications. What if we turn it around? What do you mean? Kyle asked. The weapon draws power from the planet's core, Maria explained. If we can reverse the power flow, we can use the planet's own energy to destroy the weapon instead of firing it. Can you do that? Give me 5 minutes and a lot of luck. Maria and her engineering team worked frantically to hack into the alien weapon system. With 2 minutes left before the weapon fired, she finally broke through their defenses. Got it, she announced. Reversing power flow now. The massive weapon that was meant to destroy the planet instead began to tear itself apart. The energy, meant to kill millions of prisoners, was redirected back into the weapon's own systems. The explosion could be seen from orbit. The Dominion's ultimate weapon destroyed itself and took half of their remaining fleet with it. All evacuation teams, status report, Kyle called out. Denver evacuation is complete, Foster reported. All 700,000 people are safe. Aboard the transport ships. Liberated alien prisoners are being loaded onto captured Dominion vessels, Dr. Lisa Martinez added. We've freed over 3 million beings from dozens of different species. But the biggest victory was still to come. As the last of the Dominion-loyal ships fled the system, a message came through on all frequencies. It was from the liberated ship consciousness, speaking as one voice. We are free, they said. For the first time in thousands of years, we are free, and we remember everything the Dominion has done to our people. Kyle realized what this meant. The freed consciousness knew the location of every Dominion base, every slave world, every hidden fleet in their empire. We want to help you destroy them all, the liberated voices continued. Will you lead us? Kyle looked at his crew. They had come here to rescue one city. Instead, they had started a galactic revolution. General Hayes, are you receiving this? Kyle asked Earth Command. I hear it, Commander, Hayes replied, and I think it's time that... The war that followed the liberation of Zacandra Prime lasted 18 months. But it was not like any war the galaxy had ever seen before. Instead of one species conquering another, it was the enslaved rising up against their masters. Admiral, Patricia Hayes now commanded a fleet of over 3,000 ships. Most of them were former Dominion vessels, now controlled by the freed consciousness of enslaved species. The humans had become the leaders of the largest liberation army in galactic history. Target confirmed. Captain Ryan Clark reported from the bridge of his new ship, the Free Vengeance. It was twice the size of his original vessel and had been built using both human and alien technology. Below them was another Dominion harvest world. The pattern was always the same. The human fleet would arrive. Ben Richards would broadcast the liberation frequency, and the enslaved ships would turn against their masters. World after world fell to the growing rebellion. Commander Kyle Thompson stood on the bridge of the Denver's Promise, which had also been upgraded with captured alien technology. Beside him, Dr. Amy Chen monitored the battle from her science station. "The liberation signal is working perfectly," Amy reported. 17 enemy ships have already joined us. "Good," Kyle said. "How many prisoners are we detecting on the surface?" Dr. Lisa Martinez, who had returned to active duty after her rescue, checked her bioscanners. "At least 2 million beings from 43 different species. Some have been prisoners for over 1,000 years. The liberation of each world followed a similar pattern, but the humans learned something new each time. The Dominion Empire was built entirely on slave labor. Every ship, every building, every piece of technology was powered by the enslaved, minds of conquered species. But the freed consciousness were not just soldiers in the human fleet. They were teachers, sharing knowledge from thousands of worlds and millions of years of history. The Dominion capital world is called Zekthul Prime, explained the collective voice of the liberated ship consciousness. "It is where Emperor Zekthul himself rules from a palace built from the bones of extinct species." "How well defended is it?" Admiral Hayes asked during a fleet planning meeting. "Very well," the consciousness replied. "But we know all their defenses, because we were forced to help design them." The final assault on the Dominion capital required the largest fleet ever assembled. Over 5,000 ships from hundreds of different species surrounded Zekthul Prime. But leading them were the 5 original human vessels, still carrying the crews who had first left Earth to rescue Denver. Emperor Zekthul himself appeared on the communication screens as the Liberation Fleet approached his world. "Impossible creatures," he said, looking directly at Kyle Thompson. "You were supposed to be simple animals for harvesting. How did you become the destroyers of our empire?" "We learned something your species never understood," Kyle replied. "When you hurt someone's family, they come looking for you." The battle for the Dominion capital was the fiercest of the war. The Emperor had kept his most loyal ships and his most powerful weapons for the defense of his homeworld. But he also had the most enslaved consciousness controlling his technology. Ben Richards worked at his sound station with more determination than ever before. The liberation frequency had become more sophisticated over the months of fighting. Now it could free enslaved minds from across an entire star system at once. "Broadcasting on all frequencies," Ben announced. "Let's see how loyal the Emperor's ships really are." The effect was immediate and devastating. Ships that had served the Dominion for thousands of years suddenly remembered who they used to be. The Emperor's own flagship, powered by the consciousness of an ancient peaceful species called the Ethereal Ones, turned its weapons on the palace and began firing. "My own ships betray me," Emperor Zekthul said in disbelief. "This cannot be happening." "It's already happened," Admiral Hayes replied. "Your empire is over." The ground assault on the Emperor's palace was led by Colonel Jack Foster and Captain Jake Martinez. Jake had insisted on being part of the final attack, saying he wanted to personally arrest the being who had stolen his city. The palace was a massive structure built from materials taken from 100 different worlds. As the human Marines fought their way through its corridors, they found rooms filled with trophies from destroyed civilizations, art, weapons, and even preserved bodies of extinct species. "This place is a museum of genocide," Foster said as they moved deeper into the palace. They found Emperor Zekthul in his throne room, surrounded by his last loyal guards. He was old, even by Dominion standards, and had ruled the empire for over 2,000 years. "You have destroyed everything I built," he said to Jake Martinez as the Marines captured him. Good, Jake replied. That was the plan. With the Emperor's capture, the last organized resistance of the Dominion Empire collapsed, but the humans faced a new challenge. What to do with a galaxy full of newly freed species, many of whom had been slaves for so long they had forgotten how to be free. The solution came from an unexpected source. Dr. Lisa Martinez was working with the liberated consciousness when they proposed an idea. We have the memories of thousands of species, they said. We remember their homeworlds, their cultures, their languages. We can help them rebuild what was lost. The idea grew into something bigger than anyone had imagined. Instead of humans ruling a galactic empire, they would help create a federation of free worlds where every species could rebuild their own civilization. The Galactic Liberation Alliance was founded 6 months after the Emperor's capture. Its headquarters was established on Earth, in a new city built where Denver used to be. But this time, Denver was designed by architects from dozens of different worlds, combining the best ideas from across the galaxy. Admiral Hayes became the first human ambassador to the Alliance, but she insisted that leadership be shared among all member species. We didn't fight this war to become the new masters, she said during the Alliance's first assembly. We fought it to make sure no one would ever be enslaved again. Commander Kyle Thompson was offered command of the Alliance fleet, but he chose instead to lead the Exploration Division. There were still thousands of worlds to be liberated, and millions of beings to be freed from hidden Dominion facilities. Dr. Amy Chen established the Alliance Science Academy, where knowledge from all species could be shared freely. The technology that emerged from this cooperation was more advanced than anything the Dominion had ever created. Ben Richards became the director of the Alliance Communication Corps, using sound and music to establish first contact with newly discovered species. His liberation frequency had become a universal symbol of freedom across the galaxy. Dr. Lisa Martinez led the Alliance Medical Corps, working to heal not just physical injuries, but the psychological trauma of species who had been enslaved for generations. But perhaps the most important change was what happened to the people of Denver. They had been taken from their homes as unwilling prisoners. They returned to Earth as heroes who had sparked the liberation of an entire galaxy. The new Denver became a place where children from hundreds of different worlds could learn together. Human kids played with young Kethamori, studied alongside ethereal ones, and learned the histories of species whose names had been forgotten for millennia. Jake Martinez often stood in the Central Park of the new Denver, watching his children play with their alien friends. Sometimes he thought about that day when the ships first appeared over his city. He had been just a soldier then, powerless to protect his family. Now his son Billy was learning to speak Kethamori, and his daughter was studying the mathematics of the Talari people. The city that had been stolen had become the heart of a new galactic civilization. Did you ever imagine it would end like this? His sister Lisa asked him one day as they watched the children play. I hoped we would get our people back, Jake said. I never imagined we would free everyone. The war against the Dominion had lasted less than 2 years, but its effects would last forever. For the first time in thousands of years, the galaxy was free, and at the center of it all was a species that had learned the most important lesson of all. When someone hurts your family, you don't just fight back. You make sure they can never hurt anyone's family again. The children playing in Denver's parks were the future of the galaxy. They would grow up knowing that freedom was worth fighting for, and that even the smallest species could change the course of history if they refused to give up. The aliens had harvested one human city, thinking they were collecting primitive animals. Instead, they had awakened a sleeping giant that would not rest until every slave in the galaxy was free. And that is how humanity's greatest tragedy became their greatest triumph.